Hey there, coders. Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're going from absolute zero to mastering the version control tools used by lakhs of developers every single day. Whether you've just started writing basic HTML or you're already building full-stack web apps, you are exactly in the right place. We're going to unlock the precise system that professionals use to never lose their work, collaborate seamlessly, and basically manage code like absolute pros.
But before we get into all the technicalities, let's set the stage a bit. Have you ever broken your perfectly working code just hours before the college fest or, say, your final presentation? Picture this. You're doing your project work late at night, things are going great, you decide to tweak maybe 200 lines of code just to slightly improve the UI, and boom, it completely breaks. The original working version is totally gone, hitting Ctrl-Z isn't saving you, and you spend 3 hours sweating just trying to remember what the code looked like. Honestly, almost every fresher has been through this exact nightmare.
Or think about group projects. You and your batchmates are working on the exact same index.html file. You start sending zip files back and forth on WhatsApp. You overwrite each other's changes. Absolutely nobody knows whose version is the final correct one. This is the exact chaos you face when clubbing it all together without a proper system. But thankfully, there is a literal save game feature for coding that completely eliminates this headache once and for all.
So here is our agenda for today. 1. The version control problem. 2. Git versus GitHub. 3. Core concepts and stages. 4. Setup and SSH authentication. And 5. Your daily Git workflow.
Let's jump right into section 1, the version control problem.
So, what's the ultimate answer to our problem? It's version control. It is basically a time machine that lets you go back to any previous state of your project. Instead of saving a file as project_final_v2_actual_final.txt, version control tracks exactly who changed what and when, line by line. It lets multiple people work on the exact same codebase simultaneously without any conflicts. Think of it just like that save game feature in a video game. You save your progress, and if you mess up the next level, you just load back to that exact save point.
Moving right along to section 2, Git versus GitHub.
We really need to clear up a massive confusion right now. Especially for freshers, Git and GitHub are definitely not the same thing. Let's use a real-world analogy here. Think of Git as the underlying track changes tool inside a Microsoft Word document. It's the actual software running locally on your machine, quietly tracking what gets typed and deleted. On the other hand, GitHub is like Google Drive. It's the cloud platform where you actually back up, host, and share that document with your entire team.
If you look at this breakdown, the contrast is super clear. Git is the underlying software on your local laptop. It was created by Linus Torvalds, and it works completely offline. GitHub, meanwhile, is the cloud platform, a website owned by Microsoft that actually requires Git to function. You push your code to GitHub to host your repositories online. And why does this matter so much? Because your GitHub profile is essentially your digital resume. It's the exact portfolio tech recruiters look at during placements. All right, on to section 3, core concepts and stages.
Now, before we type any terminal commands, let's build a solid mental model of how Git actually tracks your files. Every single file goes through a 3-stage lifecycle. First, you edit your code in the working directory. Simple enough. But you might not want to save every single messy change, right? So when you're happy with specific updates, you put those selected files into a virtual shopping cart called the staging area. Finally, you check out by committing. Committing saves a permanent, timestamped snapshot to the repository, which is stored safely in a hidden .git folder, right there on your machine. And this lifecycle builds into a truly powerful concept called branching. By default, your code lives on the main branch. This is your stable, production-ready code. But what if you want to experiment with some crazy new idea? Instead of risking the main code, you create a parallel version, a feature branch, say at the 2-hour mark. You test your new feature safely in this separate, isolated timeline. Once you are sure it's completely bug-free, at the 4-hour mark, you just merge it back into the main branch. You get to experiment safely without ever breaking the stable project.
Okay, let's get practical. Section 4, Setup and SSH authentication.
The very first thing you have to do after installing Git on your laptop is tell the software exactly who you are. You do this in your terminal using the git config -- global command to set your user.name and user.email. This is absolutely crucial because every single commit you make will be permanently tagged with this identity. So make absolutely sure to match the email here with the exact email address you used to create your GitHub account online. Otherwise, your commits just won't link to your profile. Next up, to securely connect your local laptop to your online GitHub account, you're going to generate SSH keys. Think of this like a digital lock and key system. You generate a pair, your private key stays securely locked on your laptop, and listen to me carefully here, never ever share this with anyone. Your public key, however, gets copied and pasted into your GitHub account settings. This way, every time you try to push code, GitHub automatically checks the keys, knows it's really you, and lets the code through without you having to type a password every single time.
Finally, Section 5, your daily Git workflow. Now, I know a lot of freshers get totally overwhelmed by the sheer number of terminal commands. But here's the secret. You do not need to mug up 100 commands on day one. Mastering just these 5 essentials will handle 95% of your project work. You use git init to initialize and start tracking a brand new folder. Git add dot stages all your current changes, throwing them into that shopping cart. Git commit -m saves that snapshot with a descriptive message. Git push uploads your local work to the GitHub cloud, and Git pull downloads any new updates your teammates made. That is your daily bread and butter. Here's a detail that instantly separates the amateurs from the pros: how they write commit messages. Bad commits look like fix, changes, or the classic, I don't know what I did. If your teammate sees that, they have zero idea what code you altered. Good commits clearly explain what the snapshot does. Always write your commit messages in the present tense, like add navigation bar to homepage or fix broken link. Treat it like you're giving clear instructions to the system about exactly what this specific update achieves. Another incredibly important pro tip: not every single file should go to GitHub. You must create a .gitignore file in your project folder. This tells Git to completely ignore heavy folders like node modules or local system files. And please listen to this very carefully. Never ever commit your .env files, which contain secret API keys or database passwords, to a public repo. Bots scrape GitHub constantly. If you upload a secret AWS key by mistake, you could literally wake up to a $10,000 server bill because someone mined crypto on your account. Put .env in your gitignore immediately.
And that brings us to the end of our journey today. Remember, your GitHub profile is your absolute best portfolio for placements. Recruiters actively look at that sea of green squares on your profile to see your consistency and your ability to use industry-standard tools. So install Git, set up your SSH keys, start early, and push code daily. Every single commit is a tangible step forward in your developer career. So I have to ask you, what will your very first commit be? Take that step today, and I'll catch you